Discover how one millionaire dad's heartwarming action transformed his nanny's life forever. Tom stood on the porch of his sprawling suburban mansion, sipping coffee and watching the morning sun rise over his well-manicured lawn. To the outside world, he was a successful millionaire dad with a perfect life. But beneath the polished surface, he felt a gaping emptiness. His wife, Sarah, was always buried in her corporate law cases, while he was left to juggle their two young children, Jackson and Lily. Every day was a blur of school drop-offs, lunches, and endless playdates. However, one morning, Tom found himself at a breaking point. He needed help. That's when he hired Maria, a resilient immigrant nanny from Mexico, who had come to America chasing dreams of her own. The moment she walked through the door, her warm smile and hard-working spirit instantly brought a flicker of hope into his chaotic world. Initially, Tom merely valued Maria for her childcare skills, but as the days passed, their interactions evolved. Maria spoke of her family back home, sharing stories of her ailing mother who needed medical care. The way her eyes lit up when she talked about hard work and perseverance struck a chord with him. For the first time, Tom questioned his priorities. He realized how disconnected he had become from his own children, lost in meetings and pressure to maintain his wealth. One afternoon, as they both sat on the porch watching Jackson and Lily play, Tom's heart swelled with an unfamiliar emotion. For the first time, he felt an inkling of what it meant to truly connect with someone who shared his values. But as he became closer to Maria, whispers circulated in his affluent circles. To the well-heeled of the neighborhood, he was seen as soft or indulgent, mingling with the help. Murmurs of judgment swirled around him like a black cloud. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The turning point came when Maria found herself facing a financial crisis, bills piling up, her mother's health declining, and no recourse in sight. Seeing her struggle tightened Tom's chest with empathy. He didn't want to be a bystander anymore. He wanted to help, yet felt powerless navigating the indifferent systems that surrounded them. After a failed attempt to guide her through a bureaucratic maze, he stood in silence on that porch, grappling with the injustice of it all. Could he really break free from the chains of privilege that bound him? Would the people in his life ever value anyone who wasn't part of their elite bubble? That question loomed larger. As Tom faced these challenges, an undeniable shift occurred. He could no longer ignore the glaring inequalities around him. When he refused to let societal judgments define him, Tom made a bold decision. He'd use his resources to elevate Maria, showing everyone her worth and igniting a community conversation about class, respect, and humanity. As he prepared to champion her cause, a sense of urgency bubbled within him, reminding him of what truly mattered. Change was needed, and it was time to protect the friendships that grounded him. While he faced judgment from his peers, the stakes propelled him forward, leaving him hungry for a better, more unified future. Would it be enough to challenge the prejudices of a community steeped in inequality? And would Maria, emboldened by Tom's support, see herself as a part of something greater? The answer lingered in the air, waiting to unfold. Tom sat at the kitchen table, his cold coffee untouched, staring out the window. The kids were off to school, and Maria was busy cleaning up after breakfast. He could hear her soft humming as she moved around the kitchen, a sound that used to blend into the background but now anchored him in the present. She was navigating her world the best she could, and Tom admired her strength. Yet, a heaviness weighed on him. His resolve to help was there, but how? He couldn't just drop cash, pretending it would solve everything. Maria was proud. She deserved more than a handout, she needed opportunities, a way to lift herself up. As he pondered how to approach her delicately, he remembered his days as a young entrepreneur, when every opportunity felt like a door waiting to be opened. Could he provide that for Maria? That afternoon, as they sat together watching the sun dip below the horizon, he finally spoke up. "Maria, do you ever think about starting something of your own? Something that reflects who you are?" Maria paused, looking surprised. Her brow furrowed, and he could see her calculating the risks. "I have thought about it, but it feels like a dream, not something for me," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Tom leaned in, sensing the spark of ambition flicker in her heart. "But it is for you. I believe in your ideas, and I want to help you make them real." He explained how he could assist with startup costs and even facilitate connections within his network. He watched as her eyes changed, a mix of hope and skepticism in her gaze. "Tom, I couldn't. It sounds too good to be true." "Why not?" he countered gently. "You work so hard every day. You deserve a chance." And as he spoke, he realized how much he meant it. It wasn't just about helping her, it was about rediscovering joy through service, reshaping his identity from a passive observer to an active participant in someone else's dreams. Days turned into weeks as Tom and Maria began their project. They met over coffee every afternoon, sketching out plans, researching markets, and contacting suppliers. Each small victory filled Tom's soul with a warmth he hadn't felt in years. The mundane responsibilities of fatherhood began to feel lighter, he was more present, more engaged. Yet, beneath this blossoming partnership lay a churning ocean of doubt. Tom often glanced towards the other side of the community, the envious glances, the whispers. What would they say when they found out? One evening, while flipping through social media to stave off the apprehension, Tom stumbled upon a community forum where people discussed careers and advice. Taking a deep breath, Tom posted about Maria's potential venture. He shared her story and aspirations, encouraging others to support someone willing to chase their dreams. He clicked send and sat back, heart racing. What had he just done? Would the community applaud him for helping an ordinary person, or would the backlash force him to retreat? As the notifications began to pop up, he felt a mix of excitement and dread, wondering if he had changed the course of their lives for better or worse. Just then, Maria walked into the room, her face glowing with excitement. "Have you seen this?" she asked, holding her phone tightly. He could see her heart beating for an opportunity, the thrill of possibility sparking in her eyes. As they both leaned over her screen, what they saw would set everything in motion. Would the community embrace a conversation about dreams, or would they punish Tom for stepping outside the lines? The stakes were high, and the moment of truth was approaching. Tom leaned closer, peering at Maria's phone. The screen buzzed with life, filled with positive comments and countless likes. Her small venture had struck a chord in the community, already creating a ripple effect. People wanted to support, to collaborate, to cheer her on. Joy washed over him. He felt a surge of hope, like a new beginning unfolding before their eyes. "Look at this." Maria pointed at a comment from someone who had written a detailed message about how they'd love to help with marketing strategies. It was a practical offer, a concrete step toward making her dream a reality. The disbelief in her voice hung in the air. "I can't believe it. They want to work with me?" "Yes. They believe in you, just like I do," Tom replied, unable to hide the pride in his voice. He felt like a proud father watching his child take their first steps. Maria spent the next few moments scrolling, grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. But the euphoria was short-lived. Tom's excitement wrestled with the nagging voice in the back of his mind. The whispers he had dreaded earlier loomed larger now. What would happen if people close to them reacted negatively? Would they ostracize Maria for stepping beyond her role? Those thoughts cast shadows over the radiant glow of Maria's potential success. He swallowed hard, trying to shake off the doubts. "We should prepare for what's next. With this attention will come expectations, he cautioned. Do you feel ready? Maria hesitated, her fingers frozen above the screen. I want this, Tom. More than anything. But it's just me. Will they still support me when they see my flaws, my mistakes? Tom took a breath, knowing this was where they had to dig deeper. That's part of the process. They will see the real you, and that's okay. Everyone makes mistakes along the way. It's how we learn and grow. Maria nodded slowly, her eyes glistening with tears of worry and hope mingling together. You really think they'll stick around? I know they will, he said, feeling warmth flood through him. You're not just a nanny to them, you're a woman working passionately for something you believe in. That's what people connect to. As Maria continued to read through the comments, a voice chimed in from the forum, sparking palpable energy. How about a small local meetup? Let us show our support. Tom shared a smile with Maria as a plan began to form. What would it look like for Maria to stand in front of people eager to hear her story? The thought filled him with excitement and apprehension alike. Suddenly, a flurry of notifications interrupted their moment, each one more enthusiastic than the last. Encouragement poured in with offers for contributions, advice, partnerships, even crowdfunding. They would be gathering around Maria's ambition, eager to be part of her journey, not judging but uplifting her instead. But lurking beneath this newfound energy was uncertainty. Tom's heart raced. This was the tipping point they had been waiting for, yet it also felt like they were standing on a precipice. How would they navigate the expectations of the community? What if the positive support turned sour? Immediately, he felt the need to act. We should respond. Let them know we're in, he encouraged, pulling out his own phone. His fingers danced over the screen as he typed, gauging every word carefully, making sure they communicated enthusiasm but also a request for patience as Maria found her footing. The stakes had risen. In that moment, Tom knew that they were no longer just dealing with an idea, they were stepping into a reality that could transform Maria's entire life. Maria glanced over, her expression a mix of fear and determination. What if I mess up? You won't, he assured her, his voice steady. And if you do? We'll learn together. As they prepared to dive headfirst into this opportunity, the doorbell suddenly rang. Tom exchanged a worried glance with Maria. Who could it be? The excitement and tension crackled like static in the room. He opened the door hesitantly and found a couple of neighbors standing there, expressions unreadable. We heard about the project, one of them said, their tone hard and judgmental. Can we talk? An icy wave of dread swept through Tom. What were they about to say? Would this be the moment everything began to unravel? Tom felt a knot tighten in his stomach as he stood there, the door slightly ajar. The couple Mark and Linda were familiar faces, but today they felt like storm clouds gathering on the horizon. He took a breath, trying to steady himself. Sure, come in, he said, stepping aside. Maria stood behind him, her face pale. Tom could see her grip tightening around her phone as if it could give her strength. Thank you, Linda said, stepping inside cautiously, while Mark followed closely behind, his expression severe. They took a seat on the couch without waiting for an invitation. The living room felt smaller, the air heavier with unsaid words. Tom, we've been seeing the buzz about Maria's project, Mark began, his voice steady but tinged with disapproval. We think it's great she wants to pursue something, but Tom's heart raced. But what? Linda cut in, but we just worry that she's getting in over her head. I mean, she's a nanny. This is a risky leap for someone in her position. Maria's cheeks flushed, and Tom felt a defensive urge rise in him. She's not just a nanny. She has a passion and a dream, and she deserves the chance to follow it. Mark crossed his arms, skepticism etched on his face. Passion is one thing, Tom. Reality is another. The community is small. What if it doesn't work out? She'll be the talk of the town for all the wrong reasons. You know how people love to gossip. Tom ground his teeth, frustration bubbling up inside him. She's got a community supporting her. They want to uplift her, not tear her down. Tom, this is tough love, Linda said gently, but her gaze still held that harshness. Someone has to be realistic. People turn fast. It'll be her reputation on the line, and yours too, for standing behind her. Maria shrank back, her eyes darting to the floor. Tom couldn't shake the sinking feeling that this could knock her confidence. If this is the case, what are you suggesting? She should just stay quiet and conform? Risks are part of growth, he replied. Mark leaned forward, his brows furrowing. Look, we're not against her trying. We just think maybe she should wait until she's really ready. Get more experience. The word stung. You don't think she's ready? Tom asked, his voice dripping with incredulity. She's already got ideas, support, and the drive to make this happen. Don't underestimate what she can achieve. Silence hung in the air. Maria shifted uneasily, her expression pained. Maybe they're right, Tom, she whispered, her voice barely above a whisper. What if all this attention is too much? No. Tom exclaimed, snapping his gaze to her. You've worked too hard to second-guess yourself now. You can't let fear take over. Tom, we're just concerned, Linda said softer now, a flicker of understanding in her voice. This is about her future. Tom felt a warmth fade as uncertainty began to creep in. Could they really handle this? He clenched his fists, battling with the doubt creeping into his own heart. He wanted to scream, to shake her and say that everything would be okay, but the nagging suspicion lingered like a shadow. Just think about it, Mark said, standing up. We don't want to see either of you hurt. As they prepared to leave, Tom felt a mix of anger and worry. He turned to Maria, who looked crushed, her confidence slipping away with each passing moment. This doesn't change anything, he told her, his voice steady but laced with urgency. We can't let their doubts steal your dreams. Can't we? Maria asked, tears shimmering in her eyes. Tom's heart sank at her vulnerable expression. He stepped closer and took her hands, holding on tight. No. This is your moment, Maria. Don't give them power over how you feel about yourself. As the door closed behind the couple, the weight of their words lingered heavy in the room. Could Maria truly push through this doubt? Would the community really rally around her, or would it all backfire? Tom could feel a storm brewing, and the stakes had never felt higher. What would they do next? He gazed intently at Maria, sensing the turbulent thoughts swirling in her mind. The phone buzzed in her pocket, a reminder of all the encouragement waiting for her. Could she find a way to turn this uncertainty into fuel? But as she looked away, lost in thought, Tom couldn't help but question, was this the fork in their road they both secretly feared? Maria sat quietly on the couch, her hands trembling slightly in Tom's grasp. He could see the way doubt shadowed her eyes, clouds of uncertainty blotting out the light of her ambition. It was as if fear had slipped into the space they shared, making everything feel heavier, suffocating. Hey, he said softly, squeezing her hands a little tighter. I know it's hard right now, but remember why you started this in the first place. You want to make a difference. She looked up, her gaze hesitant. But what if I fail? What if they're right? I'm just a temporary person in their lives, how could I possibly think I could do this? Because you care. His voice was steady, firm, as he searched her face for the flicker of determination he knew was underneath the fear. You have the drive and the heart to bring something beautiful into this community. That matters more than qualifications. But what if nobody comes? The question tumbled out, laced with worry. What if all those people who praised me suddenly turn their backs and laugh? Tom hesitated. He was terrified of the answer too. He took a deep breath. You know what? We can't predict how people will act. But this is about you, your passion. If you don't take that leap, you'll never know what could happen. The phone buzzed again, more persistent this time, reminding them both of the support waiting on the other side. Maybe I should just cancel the launch, she said, her voice breaking. She pulled her hands away and buried her face in her palms. No. He rushed forward, kneeling in front of her, forcing her to meet his gaze. Maria, don't give in to that fear. You've built this dream piece by piece. You've got people behind you who believe in what you can do. You're not alone. Slowly, she pulled her hands from her face, looking at him, her eyes moist but fiercely searching. What if I let you down? Tom felt a pang in his chest. You won T. You've got to trust yourself. You're more capable than you realize. Her breath hitched. But if I do this, it's a risk. What if the community rejects me? Then we'll figure it out together, he said simply, a soft smile spreading across his face as if to lighten the burden. I know they love you. You've touched so many lives already. It's about time you step into the light and own your worth. For a heartbeat, the room was filled with silence. Tom held her gaze, willing her to see the potential in herself that he saw, like a hidden spark waiting for the right moment to ignite. They both knew this was bigger than just a project, it was about resilience, daring to become someone they were meant to be. Maria's lips quivered as she spoke. What if my dream flops? I can't afford to embarrass myself in front of everyone. What if it soars? Tom interjected, his heart racing. He was struck by the flicker of hope in her eyes. Sometimes, it takes being brave to find out what's possible. As the emotional tide began to shift, Maria took a deep breath. I want to believe that. What if I use their doubts to push me further? Exactly. His enthusiasm surged. Turn their skepticism into your strength. You can do this. But deep within, the question lingered. Were they ready to face the community's judgment together? Would the support truly stand strong when the first wave of doubt crashed against them? Okay, Maria said finally, a spark of resolve returning. I'll give it one more shot. I want to let them dictate my worth. Tom felt a rush of pride, a sense of victory in her words. But the storm still loomed in his mind, the weight of uncertainty still casting shadows. However, as they sat together, something shifted. Together, they could face whatever lay ahead. Tom felt the potential for a breakthrough. Could they find a way to transform this moment into something bigger than either had imagined? The thought lingered as they prepared to face an uncertain future filled with both hope and doubt. Would they be able to harness Maria's fears and turn them into fuel for a brighter outcome? Together, they took one final look at the horizon, ready to step into the unknown. The launch day arrived with the sun peeking through the clouds like a spotlight, illuminating Maria's ambition with soft, golden rays. She stood in front of the community center, a space she had transformed from an empty room into a vibrant hub filled with colorful banners and tables covered in art supplies. It looked alive, echoing with her dreams. Yet, a storm of anxiety brewed in her heart. Tom sensed her apprehension as he joined her outside. Are you ready? He asked, keeping his tone upbeat. The bustling sounds of the community were growing louder, but Maria could only hear the thundering pulse of her own heartbeat. I think so. But what if? The words escaped her lips, trailing off into a whispered fear that she couldn't quite pull herself away from. What if they love it? Tom stepped closer, his presence grounding her. You've worked so hard. Remember, you're not alone in this. You've got your supporters right here. She glanced at the growing line of people, neighboring faces filled with curiosity and hope. Still, doubt filtered through her thoughts. What would they think if she stumbled? What if her vision didn't resonate? Look, he said, tilting her chin upward with a gentle finger. You've built connections with these people. They're here because of you. Step into the light, Maria. Own this moment. She took a deep breath, the air filling her lungs, pushing back her fear. It was time. With a shaky smile and a nod, she pushed the doubts aside. As she walked to the front of the room, nerves danced in her stomach, threatening to topple her confidence. But the faces in the crowd, supportive and eager, were a soft embrace that warmed her resolve. Tom stood off to the side, his heart swelling with admiration as he watched her stand tall, her shoulders squared, revealing a woman infused with purpose. She reached for the microphone, her fingers trembling slightly but steadying as she spoke. Thank you all for being here today. I can't tell you how much this means to me. Her voice cracked, but she breathed deeply, her spirit igniting into the words. This project is about us, about creating a space where we can come together, share ideas, and grow. The crowd stirred, whispers of encouragement flowing through the air. Maria felt the warmth wash over her. People were leaning in, their attention fixed on her. For the first time, she realized that their expectations were not heavy chains but rather a buoy that lifted her higher. As she unfolded her plans for the community center, each idea poured out of her heart. The fear melted away, revealing excitement wrapped in every word. Tom noticed the flicker of confidence returning to her voice. She was in her element, commanding the room with passion that left no one untouched. Applause erupted when she finished, the sound washing over her like a wave of belonging. However, amidst the cheers, a voice broke through. Why should we believe you, Maria? What makes you think you can really bring change? A figure in the back crossed their arms, eyes narrowed, preparing a critique that could easily tip the scale. Maria's heart sank, fear gripping her throat again. But she took a moment, collecting herself as Tom stepped closer to support her. The room fell silent, and all eyes turned to her. Because I believe in us, she replied, her voice steady. I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to learn and grow alongside you. I want to take risks, just like all of you have done in your journeys. We can make this work together. Tom felt the shift in energy. The crowd buzzed with murmurs of approval. Her words sparked something deeper, igniting the connection they all shared. Yet amid the cheers and the growing support, Maria's heart pounded with the realization this was just the beginning. How far could she push against the noise of doubt? As applause erupted once again, a part of her understood that the journey ahead would be filled with hurdles. Could they build a lasting bond despite the resistance they might face? Would the community embrace her ideas as they once had? With new resolve, Maria met Tom's gaze, and they both knew they were on the brink of something beyond their wildest dreams. But the question lingered in the air. Would they be ready for what came next? Or would the very challenges they faced pull them apart? The applause began to fade, replaced by an air of anticipation. Maria stood soaked in the moment, but the doubt still lingered after the interruption. She could sense the eyes of that skeptical figure still boring into her. A suffocating mix of hope and dread wrapped around her, threatening to pull her back under the weight of uncertainty. Tom stepped up beside her, offering a reassuring smile, though his brow creased slightly with concern. That was a tough question, he whispered softly, his voice a mere breath against the backdrop of the crowd. Yes, Maria replied, swallowing hard. But it's important. They deserve honesty. They deserve to know what I'm afraid of. Then share that, he replied, his faith in her contagious. Let them see who you really are. Maybe that's what they need. Taking a deep breath, Maria faced the crowd once more. She couldn't fight the twinge of vulnerability as she looked into their expectant faces. I never said I had all the answers, she began, her voice steadier this time. What I do have is a drive to create something together, a real connection, a support system where every idea is honored, where every voice matters. Her words seemed to hang in the air, laced with uncertainty yet resonant with truth. She glanced again at that skeptical figure, who now looked slightly less hostile, curiosity overlining their previous skepticism. Maria pressed on, the fire in her belly igniting her spirit. I want to be real with all of you. I've struggled with fear and self-doubt, but I deeply believe we can overcome it together. Let us face our challenges head-on. Change is hard, sure, but it's what makes us grow. If we invest in each other, I know we can build something beautiful right here. A murmur rippled through the crowd, and Maria could feel a shift taking place. A wave of connection surged as others nodded in agreement, their posture relaxing, almost inviting. It was as if they were finally seeing her not just a leader speaking directives, but as a person sharing her fears and dreams. She caught glimpses of smiles. Some people shifted forward in their seats, leaning toward her, a sense of solidarity forming in the space they shared. Even the critique stood a little taller, arms slowly unfolding from across their chest. Maria felt the rush of camaraderie swell within her. Are you with me? She asked boldly, her heart racing. Are we ready to take a step together? Who wants to share their ideas today? The response was electric. Hands shot up, voices chimed in excitement, eager to claim their piece of the vision Maria had laid before them. Ideas flowed like water, brightening the room, filling it with colors of hope and ambition. For every voice that spoke, Maria's heart lifted higher. She could feel their energy pushing her forward. As she listened, her doubts eased, replaced with realization that she was only one part of this thriving tapestry. Together, stronger. Tom watched, pride swelling inside him. Her fears seemed to fade, and where doubt once lingered, confidence now bloomed. But he couldn't shake the feeling that this was only an opening act. As the discussion deepened and plans began to form, Maria felt a new sense of purpose coursing through her veins. Yet, in the recesses of her mind, she wondered, would the momentum hold? Could they sustain the excitement, or would the reality of challenges soon wash over them like a sudden storm? The meeting wore on, voices rising and falling, the atmosphere electric with hope. But a chill swept through her thoughts, and for the first time that day, Maria's focus wasn't entirely on elation, it flirted with lurking uncertainty. In that moment, a figure approached Maria, a face she recognized, but one she hadn't seen in years. An unexpected presence she never thought would step into her story again. Hey, Maria, can we talk? Suddenly, her foundation felt shaky. What kind of interruption could this be? Maria turned to face the figure standing before her, a tidal wave of emotions crashing over her. There he was, Josh, the childhood friend who seemed to fade away just as their lives were beginning to diverge. Memories flooded back as she recalled his laughter, his kindness, and the way they used to scheme together about the future. Josh! She gasped, her heart pounding. It felt surreal to see him here, in this pivotal moment of her life. What are you doing here? I heard you were speaking, he said, his tone uncharacteristically serious. I wanted to see for myself how everything was going for you. The crowd around them faded into a background hum, the vibrant energy shifting as if the universe narrowed in on the two of them. It was the worst and best distraction all at once. Maria wanted to reach back to the uplifting momentum she had created with her audience, yet here was a part of her past demanding attention. Can we step outside? He asked, a hint of urgency coloring his voice. Maria hesitated. The door behind her was wide open, the expectant faces, the voices filled with hope were still buzzing around her. But Josh looked serious, weighty. Something had shifted in his eyes, the carefree boy she used to know seemed to have grown up too quickly. What is going on? She finally asked, her heart aching with curiosity and concern. He glanced back at the crowd before his gaze returned to her. I can't explain everything here, but I need your help. And I think you deserve to know the truth about something really important. The air thickened, a mix of intrigue and anxiety crackling between them. What could be so pressing that he stepped back into her life like this? With a deep breath to steel herself, Maria nodded. Okay. Let us talk. They moved outside, the cacophony of voices fading as they stepped into the fresh air. Maria felt a rush of coolness on her cheeks, a momentary relief from the heat of the crowd. Yet the potential strain of their conversation loomed like dark clouds gathering in the distance. Josh leaned against the wall, hands shoved deep into the pockets of his jeans. He looked older, more worn, but still strikingly handsome. "You're really doing something incredible here, Maria. I've followed your journey, and I'm proud of you," he began, his sincerity making her heart ache. "Thank you, but what's this about, Josh? You said you needed something from me?" He hesitated, swallowing hard. "I have a little sister, Mia. She's been struggling, and we've been trying to find a safe space for her. I believe your vision you could help her, help us all. But I need you to understand the full picture." Her stomach twisted. "Mia? I didn't know what kind of help does she need? Is she okay?" He shook his head as if it pained him. "It's complicated. She's dealing with some things that they could tear our family apart. I didn't want to bring it up at your meeting, but I need you to see this isn't just about me anymore. It's about making a home for her somewhere she feels safe." Maria felt a rush of empathy. How ironic that after finally feeling her own sense of purpose emerge, she was being summoned to help someone else find theirs. The call to action sparked something inside her. "Let's talk," she urged, stepping closer. "I want to help. We can figure something out together." Josh's eyes softened, and a small flicker of hope ignited in them. "Thank you. I knew you'd understand." As they stood there, locked in the moment, a new wave of uncertainty washed over Maria. She had just started to build something meaningful for herself, yet now the tides were shifting again. Would this unexpected responsibility dismantle what she had forged? Would it consume her, just as she began to stand tall? As they spoke of plans and possibilities, a gnawing fear settled in her chest. Was she ready for this? Could she truly juggle the weight of new challenges with the blossoming dreams she was finally realizing? The tension hung heavy in the air, waiting for resolution, but questions lingered. Would her journey now intertwine with Josh's and Mia's, or would it pull her away from her own aspirations? Would she find the strength to navigate both worlds? "Let's do this," Maria decided fiercely, though her heart fluttered with doubt. But just as they began to map out a path forward, a sudden commotion erupted from inside the hall. Maria glanced back, worry creeping in what was happening. "Stay close," she instructed Josh, her resolve firming despite the uncertainty that shadowed her thoughts. The crowd was her community now, and no matter how tangled her life became, she couldn't turn away from those who were counting on her. What challenges awaited them? The moment Maria turned back toward the hall, she felt a pulse in the air, a mixture of energy and chaos. Her heart raced. What could possibly be happening inside? The sounds of shuffling feet and voices rising in urgency sent a quick tremor of anxiety through her, pulling at her focus. She couldn't shake off the sense that whatever was unfolding might have consequences for her and Josh. "Let's go see," she urged, moving toward the door, tugging Josh along with her. When they stepped back inside, the atmosphere had changed dramatically. A few people were gathered in frantic discussion, some looking around as though searching for answers. Maria's gaze landed on her mentor, whom she had been addressing just moments before. His face was tense, an unusual shadow of worry looming in his features. "What's going on?" Maria asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The weight of the unknown settled on her shoulders like a heavy coat. "It's Ethan," her mentor said, his voice strained with concern. "He collapsed." Without waiting for him to elaborate, dread sank into Maria's stomach like a stone. Ethan was a beloved figure among the community, known for his generosity and unwavering support. The thought of him in trouble sent her mind into a spiral. She turned, scanning the crowd for any further information. Josh stepped closer to her, concern etched on his face. "Should we help?" She nodded instinctively, a surge of determination pushing her forward. Yes. We need to be there for him. He has always been there for us. As they pushed through the throng of attendees, Maria could hear snippets of conversations floating through the air, a mix of fear and disbelief. The spirit of motivation that had filled the hall just moments ago felt fragile, like it could shatter at any moment. In the center of the crowd, a small circle formed. Maria spotted Ethan on the floor, surrounded by a couple of people, and her heart plummeted. A sickening feeling twisted in her gut as she approached, part of her screaming to run away from the reality of the situation. "Please, back away," one of the attendees said firmly, waving people off as he crouched beside Ethan, checking for a pulse. Maria's breath came out in shaky gasps. She had been so excited and hopeful just before, focused on her own journey and dreams. Now, that hope felt like a cruel joke against the backdrop of such a sudden, stark reality. "Is he going to be okay?" she whispered to Josh, panic thickening her voice. "I don't know," he replied, squeezing her hand gently, grounding her in that moment. "He's tough. He'll pull through." But as time ticked on, doubt crept in. Medics had been called, but every second felt like an eternity. To her left, Maria noticed Mia standing alone at the fringe of the crowd. The girl seemed lost, her eyes wide with confusion, mirroring the storm in Maria's heart. At that moment, Maria realized the connection between the two crises, Ethan's health and Mia's struggles. Was this more than sheer coincidence? Her determination shifted again. Could she help both of them? With a deep breath to steady herself, she approached Mia, her heart racing. "Hey, are you okay?" Mia looked up, tears welling in her eyes. "I don't know what's happening. Is he going to be alright?" Seeing the fear mirrored in the girl's expression pierced through Maria. Without fully understanding why, a protective instinct surged within her. "I'm here for you," she promised. "We're going to get through this together." Josh joined them, his presence a reminder that they were not alone in this. They might need to lean on each other more than ever. As the medics arrived, urgency filled the room. Maria watched with bated breath as they worked quickly to stabilize Ethan. She felt a mix of helplessness and hope, her purpose flickering like candlelight in the wind. In that chaos, she caught Josh's eye, and for a fleeting moment, the worries about Mia faded. They both knew they would navigate whatever lay ahead, side by side. But the questions continued to gnaw at her. How would she support them both through their crises? Would she find a way to hold on to her own dreams in the midst of this storm? As sirens wailed in the distance, drawing near, Maria realized that her life was about to change in ways she had never expected. And as her heart raced, she braced for the tumultuous journey ahead. What truths awaited them in the wake of this emergency? The sirens wailed louder, cutting through the tension thick in the air. Maria's heart raced as the medics arrived, bringing an authority that pushed back against the chaos. She stayed close to Mia, holding her hand, a silent promise that they would face this together. As the medics jumped into action, Maria's protective instincts flared. "He's been there for us," she whispered to Mia, forcing her own fear down. "We can't let this break us. We have to be there for him now." Mia nodded, wiping away her tears. What if he doesn't make it? The thought weighed heavy in Maria's heart. Let us not think that way. He is strong. He has always fought for us. We can't lose hope. Together, they watched, their breaths holding a fragile balance as the medics worked. They monitored Ethan, providing support and ensuring he was stable. The intensity of the moment stripped away Maria's lingering doubts about her dreams. Here stood a man whose life gave so much to others, and in seeing their community rally together, she felt her own purpose surge with clarity. The medics began to stabilize Ethan. As he slowly regained consciousness, the room shifted from anxious surprises to palpable relief. I'm okay," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. The audience erupted in a mix of applause and sighs of relief, gratitude lighting their faces. We did it together, Maria thought, a warmth blooming in her chest. It was clear now she wasn't just responsible for her own journey. She was part of something larger, a community that thrived on connection and support. In that moment, Ethan's eyes met hers, and she felt an understanding pass between them. "Thank you for being here," he said, his voice steadying like the pulse of life returning to him. "Thank you for believing in us," Maria replied, realizing just how interconnected their lives truly were. Ethan's fight had been her rallying cry, and now the threads of their lives were woven together, reinforcing her mission. Still holding Mia's hand, Maria turned to Josh, the silent bond between them speaking volumes. "We should do something for him," she urged, her determination igniting once more. "A way to show our gratitude. Maybe a fundraiser, a community event, something to honor his heart." The idea hung in the air, tangible and electric. Josh nodded, conviction written on his face. "I'm in. Let us unite our voices and lift him up." Mia's face lit up, a glimmer of hope returning to her eyes. "I want to help too. I want to make a difference." As they began to discuss plans, humanity flowed among the crowd. Participants mingled, eager to contribute. Discussions turned into ideas, ideas morphed into plans. In that union, Maria found her calling, transcending her own dreams into shared aspirations. In the days that followed, Maria led the charge in organizing the event, her voice a beacon for a newfound purpose. They dedicated every effort to celebrating Ethan's resilience and building community support for one another. Among the hustle and bustle, Maria often found reassurance in Tom's support. His partnership grew into an unbreakable bond. "You inspire me every day," he'd say, pride radiating from him as he observed her building bridges. The day of the event arrived, bright and hopeful. She stood in front of the bustling crowd, much like she had before, but now it felt different. Empowered. Connected. "Today is about coming together, sharing our passions, and lifting each other up," she declared, her voice ringing out, fueled with purpose. "Because of each of you, I believe we can thrive because we are stronger together." Applause erupted, and Maria felt thrilled. She threaded her way through the crowds, engaging with everyone who showed up, encouraging them to share their stories of hope and dreams. The feedback was uplifting. Every ounce of fear she had once felt began to dissipate, drowned out by the love and support surrounding her. As the festivities continued, she noticed Mia laughing with other children, an image like sunlight breaking through clouds. There her dreams for Mia's safety and belonging lay before her. She could help children find hope and strength to face their challenges too. Finally, she turned back to see Josh, pride wrapped around him akin to a shield. Their worlds, once eerily separate, now intertwined through a beautiful web of support. "This is why I came back to you," he said simply. "I knew you'd be the spark." His acknowledgement filled the space in her heart with kindness and strength. The importance of building community had become a mutual flame, guiding them toward shared aspirations. As she glanced back at their united gathering, laughter and connection resonated around them. It was clear, just as she had ignited a passion for others, they too were there to create waves of change. They were no longer just fragments, they were a surge of hope ignited by unity born from connection. As light flickered in her heart, Maria understood they could reshape not just their community but the narrative of their lives as well. Together, they walked forward into a future overflowing with possibility, dreams no longer at the mercy of doubt, but emboldened by connection, resilience, and hope. And at that moment, standing side by side with friends, she understood the most profound lesson: true transformation comes from lifting others, allowing each person's light to shine along the way. What she had initiated was not just her personal journey, but an invitation to all. Through hope and connection, they all thrived. This was only the beginning. So what will you do next? You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support means everything. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this incredible journey. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support. Together, we can ignite hope and inspire change.